Hello and welcome back. Well, today we're going to do something really unusual. We're going to install a shower. It's kind of outside the normal metalworking videos or woodworking videos that I do, but there will be some metalworking involved because I got to build a stand to elevate it because it's a basement installation and it has to drain into a pump. I put a shower in there about, I guess, been 4 or 5 years ago, and my brother-in-law was living here. And he used the shower regularly and it leaked. And the old shower was made by American Standard, and in my opinion, I won't have another American Standard product. I don't usually throw people under the bus. Some of their stuff is probably good, but this shower enclosure was terrible, just a bad design. Anyway, what I'm putting now is the one I'm putting in now is made by MAAX. I'm not saying it's the best shower enclosure, but it has some good design features, and I'll show you one of them here. Here's the shower base, and most shower enclosures have a wide threshold here, and then you mount the doors on it and seal it with silicone. Well, this one's made, hopefully I can angle this right where you can see it. It's got little notches right here and right here, and all the sides sit within the pan. There's no way this one can leak. This is a cheaper enclosure. I think it was about $450 if I remember right. Most with a fiberglass base will run closer to $1,000, or I've seen them up to $2,000 depending on what you get. This is a complete shower enclosure, walls, doors, pan, everything. As you can see, it's a plastic base. It's not fiberglass, and it's real thin, and it's meant to sit flat on the floor. But we're going to build a platform, and it'll have plywood on the platform and a metal framework. But I'm really thinking this is going to work good. It may not wear as good as fiberglass, but it's going to be a good enclosure that won't leak. Okay, this thing has to be 7.5 inches from the bottom of this off the floor. I've got the pan turned over on the bottom, and I'm going to build the framework like that. I've got the pieces cut to rough size. This is 1x2 tubing. It would be stronger like this, but I don't need the strength. It'll be plenty strong like this, and I want to make it like this because of the way I'm doing the plumbing. The plumbing that's coming out from underneath the shower, I want that clearance there. It's got to come out the side, but it'll be plenty strong like this. But what I've got to do is cut some angles here, and it's going to get kind of confusing. I think I got this set at 67.5, which should be right. First, what I'm going to do is make 2 cuts and find out if the angles match. I just clamped a straight edge onto this little piece so that I could get a good reference on this side here. Near as I can tell, that's dead on. I like it. And once I got it, the other cuts are all square. It's just these two determine how much overhang will be there, and I think I got it right there. I believe that's got it. Okay, I made a bunch of these little tabs, and I'm going to weld them in there like that. This is 5/16 steel. I don't know where I got it from, but it works out perfect for the plywood that I'm going to insert in there. I'll just put the plywood in and screw it in from the bottom. I believe that'll be perfect. Okay, looking at the bottom side here, and it'll have legs here, 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 here and there, whatever. But I got to put some mounting brackets 31 inches from the corner. This will screw into the wall. There's a stud there at 31 inches. That's a leg, and this will be to fasten like a kick panel to the leg. Here we are in the laundry room, bathroom, with the base set in place. And surprisingly enough, all the welding I did on it actually made it more level. There's no rock to it at all. I mean, it's amazing. Very, very surprised about that. I figured I'd have to try to straighten or level or shim or something, but it's very nice. I got to buy a piece of plywood that'll set right in there, and then under here I've got the insets right there. I'm going to buy some PVC board and put it in there. It's waterproof and it's already white, don't have to paint it. So that's what I'm going to do now. Then we'll remove this thing and paint it white and reinstall and start installing the shower. And just in case you're curious about that plumbing, that's the reason for elevating it. That's a pump toilet, and the sink and the shower both go into it. Works fantastic. It's been working fantastic for about 10 years. Maybe a little less than that, about 8 years, I guess. Fantastic. Yeah, let's put this drain in. It's got like a rubber washer and a cardboard washer. Pretty simple, really. This goes right here, and the rubber washer goes against the pan and then the nut. Okay, I'm really pleased with the way it's coming out. I didn't show too much of the drain being put in because it's kind of particular to this installation, but it's fairly straightforward. Silicone underneath this flange right there, and everything else just screws together. One thing I didn't show earlier, let me move the camera a little bit. Right here I got a stud on each corner, and the instructions say to put a shim down behind this before you screw this to the wall, and they say to drill through this flange right here, which I'm a little apprehensive about, but there's a hollow spot behind here, and the shims that they say to put are like right there, but I glued a couple of 1/4 inch thick blocks. It's like a hollow recess here. If I can find it in some past video, I think it shows in some of the video. I'll put a little clip of it up here. But I glued these behind that. There's a hollow spot, and basically that'll support this plastic when I'm screwing it to the stud. The shims that they show in the instructions are kind of misleading. It looks like it's made different than what it actually is. So I'm just going to screw that right there through these wood blocks that are glued to the back of that flange. Kind of hesitant to drill through that flange because it could create a leak. But I'll put some silicone sealer on there, and they do stress not to over tighten it. So I'm going to do that now. They recommend a countersunk screw. You could put a pan head in there. There's enough room between, I mean, the drywall sticks out probably a 1/2 inch, and this is like a 1/4 inch, a little over a 1/4. I found some stainless steel screws, so that should avoid any kind of rust stain. I don't think water will get in behind that anyway. I'll put a little sealant on that one. I'm paranoid about leaks. think I'll take the other one out and do the same on it. Okay, I got to cut a hole for the plumbing, and I've measured 48 1/4, made a mark, and 19 from this edge. And I'm pretty sure this is how I did it before, so hopefully it'll work out good. I got a piece of plywood underneath, piece of scrap of plywood right here so I can clamp the whole thing. And this is the front surface. It's got a plastic covering on it, and it's got a dull surface on the back, which is to adhere to your drywall. Here we go. That wasn't too bad. This part kind of makes me nervous because the instructions for the shower are different than the instructions for the Loctite power grab tub surrounds. I'm going to go with Loctite's recommendation. One important step I left out, I made a line right here to line this panel up with, and what the instructions say is to put the straight edge right there and then measure over 7/8 of an inch and make a plumb line, and that's what I did to position these panels. Okay, here's one glass panel, and they say to insert this, call it a jam strip, I think, onto the side glass panel, and then put it in place in the slot in the base right here. Then it says to use a level and plumb it, and then attach the remove the panel and attach the aluminum jam strip to the wall. Well, I can use the side of the plumb line that I drew here already because it lines up perfectly. So let's see. Looks simple enough. These panels are heavy. Tempered glass, got to be careful with them. Now, I don't have a stud there, unfortunately, so I've got to put in anchors. There's a protective film on this. I really don't want to pin it underneath the aluminum rail here, so just peeling part of it back. I like it. Some of you may be asking why I haven't glued this back portion in. The corner requires adhesive and a bead of silicone, and I don't have any silicone at the moment. So I'm going to do that later. Let's take a good close look at this shower enclosure. I'm in no way paid by these people, MAAX Showers, to say this. I think there's some things on here that are not quite as good as other models. For instance, it's a plastic base, not fiberglass. Probably will scratch easier. But look at this. This glass right here sits inside the shower pan. If this jam leaks water, guess where it goes? Inside the shower pan. There is no way the shower can leak. Now, I haven't got to the door yet. The door on the display model in the store looked really good, but if anything leaks, it'd be the door. But even if it gets through the door, it goes back into the shower pan. So I'm optimistic about this shower. The last one was terrible, and I'll review some of that later. Okay, we're installing this top rail now. I'm going to have a left side hinge. Apparently that's what the hinge is for. These are just to mount the top rail. But I want this piece with the two holes to the left side for the left side hinge. I was supposed to put these under the screw, and later on you can put a trim cap on top of that. Okay, here's the parts we're going to install now. These are the adjustable hinges. That's the adjustment right there. Very impressive. Well thought out. Now the adjustment has to go toward the hinge side. There's an adjustment screw right there. That fits right there. A little cushion block for the glass goes right there. Okay, I read on the instructions and it says do not over tighten. That needs a little more description, I think. That's it. Nice. On to the other end. Okay, this little block right here got an eccentric in it. Can you see that? It goes right up here. But I have to hold the door and put that block in place and screw this in from the outside to hold the block. So it's got to be it should be a two-person operation. And the book suggests using two people, one person to hold the door, one person to install the block. And I may have to wait until somebody's here to help me, but I'm going to try it by myself. So the door has to go in this bottom pivot point right there. And then the block attaches at the top right there. Now I can see where I should have pre-adjusted these hinges because there's a tremendous amount of adjustment on them. and the weight of the door tends to pull everything out of the side panel out of the jamb. So I got to get in the shower while I'm holding this thing and adjust the hinges. Okay, there's supposed to be a 3/16 gap between the glass, well, between two glass panels right here, all the way up and down, and I got that pretty well done. There's an eccentric adjustment right here that I'm going to make right now, and it's to move it this way. Of course, it affects this way too, so I may have to readjust this hinge. But it's just a little off. I guess just basically make it the same as the bottom. It controls this way. And it's got a little set screw. Tighten on the back. Now I think it probably moved my gap a little bit. Yeah, it moved it that way. So now I got to readjust. Now the reason they say to have two people, and it is a good idea, the weight of this panel can pull this section out. It seems to be fairly stable, but that's a lot of weight right there, and this is not fastened, this panel here is not fastened to the jamb yet. And the reason it's not fastened is in case there's any adjustments that have to be made. They can pull it out of the jamb a little bit, and I think I probably will have to pull it out of the jamb just a little bit, because the gap on this other side is substantial. So both, I don't know if that's an adjustment or not. I got to read further on the instructions. Now I got to install the inside, on the hinge side, door seal. And I may have to trim this one because the hinge is in the way. Oh no, slides up under the hinge. Cool. And I've got to, it says on the instructions to notch this area right here to contour to that. Kind of hard to explain. I'll give you a close-up after I do it. This wasn't at all the right length. Instructions weren't really clear on this. Kind of hard to do too. Here's a close-up. I had to make that notch right there so that this area here was a little longer. A little notch accommodated this piece of trim. Or it was supposed to. Need to trim off a little more. Okay, there's a couple of areas on this installation that are really not very clear. One of them is right here. The first one was the shim on the back of the pan where it bolts to, or where you screw it to the wall. But this is more severe here. See how this is inside? Probably kind of hard to see on the video, but it's sitting on top right here. It needs to be down like that, otherwise it'll leak. So what I'm going to do, and this may not be the right thing to do, but I don't know what else to do, I'm going to trim it off right here. Right. Just like that. I'll probably have to trim the inside as well. It's got two flaps on it. Right there is what I ended up doing. I trimmed that plastic strip right there so that it would go back inside on each side of that. Probably hard to see. This is level right here, but from that point back it slopes toward the shower, so any water that hits that will end up going back in. I also had to trim the inside. I had to trim the inside right there where it goes over the top of that too. I have not made the connection between this jam strip and this panel. You got to put screws on the inside. I wanted to be able to adjust these screws right here. There's a little bit of play in them and I can move things around a little bit. And I did do that. So the next step is, everything's closing good, to go inside the shower and drill and secure that, I forget what they call it, wall seal, wall bracket. Well, it's all done. It's ready for the water test. There's one thing that I didn't do that was recommended. Let me show you. I hope this is showing up all right on the camera. I didn't seal this right here. The bottom of the panels, they're sitting inside the pan by at least an inch. I don't see any need for it. We'll find out. I don't think it'll be a problem. So it's time to take this panel off and give this the water test. I doubt very much I got a leak there, but I want to make sure. Looking good. Looking good. Sprayed water on all the sides and nothing comes through, no leaks. I like it. I think it turned out really well. Well, that about wraps it up, but before you leave, let me discuss what was wrong with the American Standard shower. It really wasn't the shower, it was the pan design. And the biggest problem with it was the lip that goes up behind the tile board. It doesn't go all the way to the end. And your wall, your shower wall, sits right on that flat portion on the outside. And anything that leaked past the shower wall also went behind the shower. And I don't know why they made the pan like that. I think it was kind of an oversight. And the new ones may not be like that. But I was really disappointed with that shower pan. Anyway, that wraps it up for today. And thanks for joining me. Be sure to subscribe and ring that bell.